on, burning love cause we are young. No one tells us what's done wrong, cause it's just me and you.
Hey guys, we are Kiki and
Keke.
And today we're going to be doing a highly requested video giving relationship advice.
Yeah.
We've asked a couple of you what your most pressing relationship questions are, and we've collected them on Facebook. So we're going to start with the first one. We're going to read it out, but we're also going to put it somewhere in this video. I'm going to read it out. My daughter has been living with her boyfriend for 4 years. Different generation to me. She works and pays for everything, and I mean everything. While he stays at home, in the place she pays the rent for, and plays computer games all day and night. When she comes home, she cooks his meals, cleans, does the shopping, etc. I just don't understand their relationship. Do I say something to her, and if yes, what? Or do I just stay out of it? Any other advice would be helpful. Wow, this sounds like a tough one. I mean, there's a lot to digest in this message. So, okay. First of all, the first question is, the first statement that I think we should talk about is I don't understand their relationship. From the way you've portrayed it in this message, this relationship sounds very, very one-sided. But I feel like if your daughter's in it, there must be something that she's getting out of it. So maybe that's love, maybe that's affection, that's care, maybe he's a great boyfriend other than that. Maybe, there's a lot of things that we don't know. For example, like, how do you know this? Is your daughter telling you this? If yes, is she upset when she says this? Is that something that she would like to have changed? Do you see that when you come over to her house? There's a lot of assumptions here, but let's just go with the fact that you know this from a neutral source. So not that she came to you in a fight or telling you, oh my God, my boyfriend doesn't do anything all day. Assuming that she is happy, then I feel like you should not be intervening. Now, how do you find out if she's happy? Easiest way is to communicate to her, ask her. It's a lot easier, for example, we will not know why she's in that relationship, but if you ask her, maybe she will tell you. Maybe she'll say, oh, Mom, he's an amazing guy, he's the best man I've ever met because he shows me so much love and attention. He, always...
Therefore, that's why she does all these things for
exactly.
him.
So now the fact that if I would be talking to the daughter herself, I would be saying, again, assuming that all he does is play computer games day and night, like it says in the message, that's obviously not a very healthy way to live. It seems like he's got some issues. It also insinuates that he's unemployed, in which case that's also obviously a problem, unless they have an agreement and he does something else. But you also say here that when she comes home, she also cooks his meals, cleans, does the shopping, etc. So it seems like he really does nothing in this relationship, in which case, speak to your daughter, I feel, and figure out if she's happy. And if she's happy, then if you still have a problem with the situation, I would encourage her to encourage him to get a job and to maybe become less lazy, more motivated. Maybe he has mental health issues. Encourage her to get him to see a therapist. There's a lot of things that could be at play here, I think. Assuming she's happy. If she's not happy, then I would obviously help her out. Depending on what makes her unhappy, but still the advice would be very similar. I would encourage her to encourage him to get a job, to maybe go to school, to do some courses, to do something with his life, find some passions, find some hobbies. It really depends on the situation. So if the relationship is good otherwise, and he's a great guy and she's a great girl, I see no further issues.
I agree with you. As long as she's happy, that's, like you said, that's the most important thing. If she's happy, you should just be happy for her, I guess.
Do you feel like she should say something even though she's happy? Like, let's just say the daughter's happy. Do you feel like the mom should intervene? Because the mom thinks that
I think the mom should tell her that she feels how she feels. I think it's important that they have a transparent relationship, And if the mom feels that, even if it's a different era, and the mom feels like he's not really pulling his weight, you should let her know, but not in a. You shouldn't approach it like in a mother way, like tell her. You should like not be with
authority.
With authority. Like, you should not be with him because this, and this. Just approach it as in, I think he should be more like this, or more like that, or more like this. Like in a more positive and encouraging way. Does that make sense?
And also maybe show her the benefits. Like, for example,
Yeah.
maybe she'd like to go on vacation, and because she's the only one working, they can't afford it.
Exactly.
So say, if you guys are both going to be working, you can go out more, you can go out eating. To be honest, this sounds like a very unbalanced relationship.
Yeah, it's very unbalanced.
But again, it's really important to note whether that is from your perspective or she actually told you it in those words. Because if she told you this in those words, then we can safely assume that the daughter has a problem with the way the relationship's going. So again, in that case, yeah, I would say what you just said anyway. Try not to be very authoritative, because generally people don't respond well to that. And just try to, in a friendly conversation, understand.
her.
And so, this girl's asking,
Mm-hmm.
what made you stay through everything? Was there ever a point where you said, I love myself more than to deal with this? I'll take it part by part. What made you stay through everything? So I think for me, even though it's a cliche, I would have to say love, but also faith. I think faith that the problems that we have will be fixed in the future, and faith generally in the relationship that we have what it takes to make it work. And by the way, everybody that says that long-term relationships are easy, they're a liar, or they've never been in one. I feel like a long-term relationship is very, very hard work. And do you agree?
Yeah, that's something I learned from you. That relationship is like a 9 to 5, especially when we did long distance. We forced ourselves to make time for each other. We forced ourselves to have to make sure that we fill each other in our day-to-day life. I feel deep in my heart that we are meant to be. Seriously, I feel it like that we're meant to be. So I feel, I don't know.
So love and delusion.
Yeah. Whatever you call it, I just...
There's a second part to the question. Was there ever a point where you said, I love myself more than to deal with this? Probably a bunch of times during fights. Have we ultimately taken that decision? No, otherwise we wouldn't be here. But I feel like we need to discuss this question a little bit, because saying I love myself more than to deal with this means that you value your own personal feelings over the relationship. And I feel like if you have this kind of attitude to a relationship that is not emotionally or physically abusive, then you're actually doing the relationship a disservice. Because I think that you should put the relationship above your own personal feelings. And I can give many examples of that. But basically, for example, if you've had a really bad day and your partner's just hanging out at home and you come home and you're very frustrated, of course it makes sense that you then let your frustrations out on your partner. But obviously that really harms the relationship. And if you multiply that times 10 every month and then times 12 every year, I feel like it really, really builds up. So I think one of the hardest things in long-term relationships is that they come with a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have issues very, very early on that maybe they're not comfortable talking about. And I feel like the problems start piggybacking on each other until they just collapse. And sooner rather than later, it's better to talk out all the issues, I feel. And I think that this is the point of a relationship where it's a lot of make or break. So you either survive this talk or that period in your life, in your relationship, or you don't. And I feel like the difference between the relationships that make it and the relationships that don't are the ones that have good communication, love, and trust.
I agree. And honesty.
And honesty.
Honesty
Yes.
is super important. I think I would say that that's the key ingredient to our relationship, is honesty since day one. But we were brutally honest with each other, but honesty...
To be honest, I don't think that's... I mean, honesty is good. Obviously, don't lie to your partners. But I also think that brutal honesty is very, very hard to take. And I think that you sort of need to know who you're together with. I mean, if both of you or one of you are very, very sensitive, then I think there are ways to quote the truth, not in a lie, but in a more easily digestible manner. So I don't think you should always say exactly what you mean at all times, because I feel like humans generally have negative thoughts quite often. And for example, I don't know, I mean, there are times where it's not good to be honest. Like if you are having a bad day and your partner comes to hug you or want to cuddle or wants to watch a movie, and your first response is, I'd rather just be alone right now, you know.
But that falls into communication.
Yeah, I guess so.
In a moment like that, like, you should communicate how you feel. Sometimes it's easier said than done,
Definitely.
but communication is key.
So, to summarize, what made you stay through everything? Love, faith, hope, and illusion. Okay.
Yeah.
I do feel like nowadays a lot of people, I mean, it's so easy to date and find new love interests that I feel like people just go, oh my god, there's a problem with that one, move on to the next. And I feel like you will never find a perfect relationship where you're gonna not have to work on anything. So if your attitude is to find a problem with somebody and then immediately leave them because they're not your Prince Charming or princess, whatever, then I feel like you're gonna have a bad time. So I think before you get into a relationship, or if you're already in one, sit down, write down what is very, very important to you, set your boundaries, and then make sure that that relationship does not exceed them, but also make sure that you're the best person in that relationship. So the next question, I'm going to read it out. Did you at any point in your relationship have trust issues? If so, how did you deal with them? I think the answer to that is definitely. I think everybody that says otherwise, is either lying or in denial with their own feelings.
Every relationship has trust issues.
Especially, I think every relationship, but especially
at some point.
When you're doing long distance, I think, especially over a long time period, I think that trust issues are unavoidable. So the answer to the first part is definitely, we definitely had trust issues.
Yeah.
How did we deal with them?
Communication.
Yeah, again, the only way to really solve any problems is communication.
Yeah.
Talk about them, don't hold on your feelings. I feel like if you bottle up your emotions, eventually they'll explode anyway, so there's no point in bottling them up. Speak about issues as soon as they come up. I think that's something we've been struggling with in our relationship.
Yeah.
I think that we both sort of have the habit of accumulating problems and then it just exploding.
Yeah, especially me. I don't like to sit and talk about my feelings, but I'm trying to open up a lot more and understand.
Yeah.
Better
So
how
I
to
think
communicate.
Yeah. So I think talk about your problems, talk about why you're having trust issues, talk about which incident started the trust issues. The
most important thing I think is to try to put yourself in the shoes of the other person.
Cool, I agree. How do you know whether to help your man with a problem or to leave him alone? I always want to help, but it seems I annoy him more than help. So the first thing I would say is figure out whether you actually annoy him. Maybe this is just some insecurity talking and actually you're providing good advice. So depending on why you feel like he seems annoyed, just ask him flat out. I mean, the best way to figure out something out is to ask. If he tells you, maybe what actually is the problem is the approach of you helping with problems. Like, for example, I know that with us, I like really practical solutions. So if I have a problem, I feel cared for if somebody solves the problem for me. So for example, I say, I don't know, yesterday I broke my foot and tomorrow I have to climb stairs. I'm not looking for, oh my god, you broke your foot, don't worry, it's gonna be fine. Like, I know it's gonna be fine, I just need help to get up the stairs. But like, for example, I think with you like more, not practical, more emotional support. So it's more about saying, oh my god, don't worry, it's gonna be fine, we're gonna find a way. But with a lot more care. For me, I don't need the care as much as I need the actual solution. So again, the only way you'll figure that out, what your partner prefers, is communicating with them. So it took us many years to figure out that we feel supported in different ways. And I think, again, it's really, really important to figure out, to put yourself in your partner's shoes, to have talks like this about every little area in life, because people are very, very different. And you will only ever know what it feels like to be in your own head. And since your partner can't, you have to give him the next best thing, or her, which is communicating to them how you feel. So then, you'll understand them better. And if you understand them better, you avoid issues.
I also think that you can just try different things. Like, so, for example, if he's angry about something, just approach him. If he doesn't like that approach, you can always try to vary the approaches. So then you can kind of gauge for yourself how he responds to them. And whether you should step in that moment or no, or whether you shouldn't step in that moment. So that would be another great solution, just to try to test the waters, basically. You know, but because generally people have similar reactions to certain things, you know, certain situations, people generally react the same. So
next comment. What made you guys want to go ahead and stick it out with each other through thick and thin? Was it love? That's so cool. Congratulations, seriously.
It's a good question.
What made you guys want to go ahead? I mean, we already sort of answered this question, but again, what made you guys want to go ahead and stick it out? So same thing for me. Love, I think a little bit of the fact that we've gone through so much together.
History,
yeah.
Also, I would like to say that, like, for me, love of course is important, but I don't know, it feels weird, but I honestly feel an out of this world connection. Like I feel like we've gone through the same things, we grew up the same, we understand each other, where we come from, we both have a similar position in our lives, and I just feel like it's something that's irreplaceable, you know, like honestly, I feel like that, and that's what keeps me going through the bad times, knowing that even if things go really bad, I'd rather them go bad with you than to start fresh with someone else, you know. So
very cute.
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean it's very similar with me. I mean it's a cliche as usual with everything that is love and relationship related, I think, but I feel like if you rather have it go bad with someone than go good with somebody else, then that's a pretty good indication either that you're crazy or that you should be working more on your relationship instead of calling it quits.
The grass is not always greener on the other side, and I think a lot of people do believe that the grass is greener on the other side, and they just move on. But like you said, every relationship has problems. I don't believe there is a fairy tale relationship out there that does not have problems, that does not have fights, that does not have disagreements. You know, it's a choice that you make, but make sure that, you know, you make the choice with someone that you're willing to fight for. Yeah, fight for, commit to.
And the relationship is a fight every day.
Yeah, and it's healthy.
Fight for it.
It's work. It's honestly work. It's not just. It's
the first time I told him this, we had some random disagreement, and I'm like, listen, I think it was because I felt like you were not giving me enough attention or something like that. And I was like, listen, it's like a 9-to-5 job, you know, you have to put in the work, otherwise you're not going to get results and you're not going to end up getting paid at the end of the month. And then he looked at me and he was like, what? How can a relationship be work? But I think it's true. I think you have to work at it as if it's a project. I
used to think that you just get in a relationship and, you know, you connect with that person and everything is just smooth sailing. Everything's meant to fall into place, and if it doesn't fall into place, that person is not the right person for you. But I have learned that no, it's about work, and you shouldn't run away when things get hard. You should work it out, as long as everything else is fine, you know, not like
don't stay in abusive relationships. This is not what we're saying.
Or, you know, someone with no ambition or blah 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 blah. But as long as all the other things are in place, if it's just the disagreements or, you know, feelings or the way certain person acts or something like this, things that you can come together, then
things that you can fix with communication.
Yeah,
I mean,
you should stick it out, because you're gonna have problems no matter where you go.
Yeah.
Every relationship.
And I also feel like from myself and our experiences and friends' experience as well, it seems that you always take your problems with you.
Yeah.
So from relationship to relationship, I mean. So I think that, again, obviously, sometimes somebody's wrong and somebody's right in an argument, but I think overall, people have their own personality types that are, and the different things about them that are hard to deal with for somebody else. And I think that nobody would know that better than your partner. So again, communicate. It might even help you better yourself. Next question. What's the secret of not seeming clingy but also being active in the relationship?
That's not easy.
No, I don't know.
Because the not seeming clingy is different for every single person. So the first step is to try to gauge where that line is for that specific person, right?
Yeah.
If you're just starting off in a relationship and you text, you know, let's say you text a guy maybe 10 times a day, and you know, if he's taking his time to answer, or if he's not writing back as often, then that kind of, you know, you can already gauge it, okay, maybe he doesn't want to talk that much over text.
So I think talking about this question, I think what we should mention is how much space a person needs in a relationship. For example, I think that's a big part of not seeming clingy. I think that there's people that need a lot of alone time every day or every week, and I think that there's people that need very little alone time. And I think that, again, so that it doesn't cause arguments, I think the most important thing is figuring out a happy medium, figuring out each other's expectations, and most of all, the most important thing in a relationship that is even more important than communication for me is respect. I feel like you should respect each other's feelings at all times. And the secret to not seeming clingy, I think, is again in communication and respect. You have to, first of all, know what being clingy means. The definition is different for everybody. And two, act on it. So if you know, for example, that your girlfriend likes coming home and reading a book every second or third day and does not like to be bothered during that time, don't bother her. If you think that your boyfriend wants to come home and sometimes he just wants to play games on whatever, on his console, respect that. Just the most important thing is that there's a happy balance. So obviously both people in a relationship should be satisfied, which means that you should not feel like you're getting not enough attention or less attention than you require to be happy in a relationship. And also at the same time you should feel like you're getting the other person's getting enough me time or alone time or whatever. And I think the balance between that, coupled with communication and respect, is the secret. After 2 dates, this girl told me she wanted a relationship with me. I was totally into her, so I said yes. 3 days later, she told me she wasn't ready for a relationship. What am I supposed to do now? Okay, this is a tricky one.
Wait, so they went on a date?
They went on 2 dates.
On 2 dates?
And then the girl told the guy she wants to be in a relationship.
Okay.
He was into her, so he said yes. But then 3 days after that, so 3 days after they got into a relationship, she told him she wasn't ready for a relationship. And he's asking, what am I supposed to do now?
She might have met somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, 2 dates is really not...
I'm thinking she was multi-dating.
Well, also, it depends how old they are, you know?
Possibly, but listen.
I mean, who gets into a relationship after 2 dates?
I have no idea, but I'm thinking that she might have another dude. I think she might have been dating you at the same time as somebody else, and you might not have been a front runner.
But why did she say she wants a relationship?
Probably she wanted the relationship. Maybe that was her second option. Like, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like it. That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, if I were the
or
girl...
she tested him.
Yeah, that's what I was going to think.
Or she gave him a test.
Yeah, maybe it was some sort of test to see if he likes her enough to get into a relationship.
Possibly.
And maybe she really likes the chase and thought that it's going to be a lot harder to get you into a relationship. But then when you just said yes...
I suggest you should move on.
I agree. Definitely move on.
I think you should move on, bro. I mean...
You don't need to be with anybody that does not cherish you and appreciate you.
If she's playing games so early on, yeah, that relationship is going to be rocky.
Move on. There's a lot of fish in the sea.
Yep.
I've been married for 3 years, but a year ago I found out that my husband has a child with another woman.
Whoa.
Wow. Okay. Whenever I try to ask him, he avoids to talk about it, making it seem like my problem. Eventually I got bored and I found another man who loves me, cares for me, says sorry when he does wrong, and always explains even before I can ask him to. I like him, but now I'm wondering how to tell him I'm married without breaking his heart, and hopefully he will forgive me and be willing to continue staying with me. Wow. Okay, so there's a lot going on in this message.
I'm confused. So she was with her husband of 3 years.
Yeah.
And he has a child.
A year ago, she found out that he had a child with another woman.
Okay, okay, and then that drove her crazy.
And every time she tried to bring it up, he acted like it's her problem and not to bother him with it.
Okay.
So eventually...
She found somebody else.
She found somebody else because probably he was not giving her love and attention and she could not forgive him. this guy seems perfect. He
But
loves
what's
her,
the-
cares for her,
Yeah.
but he doesn't know she's married. Now,
No,
it doesn't seem like she wants a divorce, but she doesn't want to stay with this lover and hope that he's willing to continue being with her. So I am guessing.
Are they like in a relationship? Are they
They're
friends
in a
with
relationship.
benefits?
No, it sounds like a relationship.
So okay, it's okay.
So she has a boyfriend. She's married and she has a boyfriend.
Okay, so she has nothing to do with the actual husband anymore.
No, she's married to him.
Yeah, apart from the marriage, they don't probably live together. They probably have no relationship.
I do think they live together. This seems
Oh wow.
like it's from a conservative culture where the woman probably cannot divorce the man because she's not. Yeah, I think so. Let me just check. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
No, so let's make the assumption, because I think it's the correct assumption to make, that divorce is not so easy. Maybe it's frowned upon in society wherever she's from. So the first thing that I would focus on here is your safety. You did not mention this. No, you did not mention this, but you're married. What happens if your husband finds out that you have a boyfriend? If this is an unsafe situation, I think the most important thing is to first of all make sure that your situation is safe. Now, if your life is not in danger and for whatever reason you cannot divorce your husband and you have to stay with him, whether that is, you don't mention if you have kids with him, but let's pretend whether you do or you don't, and by society standards you just have to stay married to him. Depending on how conservative the culture is where you're from, I would urge you to talk to your family, explain them the situation. If they do not understand and you really feel like you have no way out but to stay married to him, I'm assuming that your boyfriend is also from a similar culture, so he should understand. You don't mention whether you are still sleeping with your husband, but I guess it doesn't matter if I don't know, this is really difficult.
I mean, the boyfriend needs to know. I mean, there's no way around it. He needs to know. There's no point in living a lie.
Now, you're saying that you want to let him know, but you also want to keep seeing him while being married.
Yeah, so let him know that you're married and let him know how you feel. But ultimately, if you tell the boyfriend, you need to sort out your feelings, because if you're not planning on being together with the husband, then you need to move on with the boyfriend and explain him the situation and think about trying to get divorce proceedings if it's possible, and move on. Or
because she's only been married for 3 years. It's not like they've been together for 20 or 25 or even 10. They've only been married for 3 years, and she seems very young.
Yeah, okay, but the thing is, he's got a kid.
I think, okay, so
and she just found out that
it seems, I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but it seems like you're quite young. He's quite a bit older. I don't know whether this was an arranged marriage or not. In any case, the first advice I would have is talk to your family, parents, brothers, sisters, whoever you think is most open to listening, and then see if you can remove yourself from the situation. Because there's no point in staying married to somebody that you do not want to be with and having a boyfriend on the side. If you can get out of the situation and
get out, because
with your boyfriend, then
he has a child. Oh, how old is the child? Did she say how old the child is?
Yeah, no, it doesn't say, but it says a year ago I found out that my husband has a child with another woman.
He has a child. We don't know how old that child is, but all we know is that he's been hiding that child from you. So, a year ago,
she says a year ago she found out. Maybe he also found out a year ago. You don't know that.
Oh, okay.
But in any case, it doesn't matter. What matters is that he avoids talking to you about it and makes it seem like you're the one who has a problem.
Which it should
and
be.
You found another man and you don't want to be with your husband anymore. So It doesn't matter. So the first thing, I think, get rid of that situation, get divorced if you can.
Get rid of him.
And after you get divorced...
Seriously, he's hiding a child from her. I mean, if he can hide a child from her, what else is he going to hide from her?
Well, just to summarize. If you can get out of the marriage safely, get out of it, inform a family member of the situation so maybe they can help you. If you cannot get out of the marriage, then still come clean to your boyfriend, explain to him the situation, explain to him that why you cannot get out of your marriage, and tell him that you want to be with him, and then see what happens. So this is a thread of messages that she sent us, responding to specifically us saying that we've been in a long distance relationship before. So she says, have you and your partner ever lived together, and how far apart are you? Is it different states or countries? Then I said, yes, sure, we're living together right now. We were in different countries.
Yeah.
And then her response was, that's great. Was it hard to get to where you are now? So lots of questions here. Number one.
Okay.
Have you and your partner ever lived together? Yes, we're living together right now. How far apart are you? Okay, so were we? We were, he was in England, I was in Austria.
Yeah.
Is it different states or countries? So different countries.
Countries.
Now, that's great. Was it hard to get to where you are now?
Very.
Yes.
Very tough.
Yes, it was very, very hard.
Very bumpy.
We've covered. Was a bumpy road.
It still is a bumpy road.
It still is a bumpy road, that's true. Like I said, I think that what is most important in a relationship is that the long-term vision, whether you ultimately want to end up together or not. I think having that kind of goal sort of helps you focus on the right things in life. I think if you're thinking more short-term, then there would be a lot of times in this relationship where we would have said, you know what, maybe it's better not to be together right now. But I think over long-term, yeah, you have to have a long-term vision. Now, was it hard to have long-term vision? Of course, because people like instant gratification. And especially in long-distance relationships, I think like you really go against your nature because
it's not easy.
Even you have a boyfriend, but you can't really be with your boyfriend, so you spend most nights alone. You don't get the comfort, emotional, physical, whatever you wanna, whatever's important to you, you don't get any of it. I mean, the only thing you have is Skype conversations and phone calls. Of course, it depends on how far away you actually are from each other and how often you can see each other. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's the same. Long distance relationships are hard, whether that's different states, across countries.
Next.
So that was the last question.
Really?
Yeah, we're done. So guys, that's it for today. We hope that our answers were useful for you. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you have any more questions and you would like to see more of this kind of video, please leave a comment with your question down below. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button if you enjoyed our video, and see you next time. Bye!